Hey y'all, welcome back to Crumbs and Butter. I'm Shannon.
I'm Ramon.
Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our videos. And for those of you that have been following us and watching, welcome back. So today's question of the day. Dating. Because we've been getting some questions about dating.
Yeah. I mean, we're dating.
We're dating. We're dating. Are we dating?
I mean, we're dating each other, not like other people, but we're dating.
Correct.
I guess we could clarify that.
Yeah. So I think where we wanted to start was like just talking about dating websites, right? Because that's where a majority of everybody's meeting these days, for the most part.
Yeah. For the most part. Well, a couple years ago, at least a year ago or whatever, that's where most people were meeting at.
Right.
Now they're slowly getting back out, but they're still a thing, and people still waste their time on them.
Yeah. I think prior to meeting Ramon, like my experience with dating websites was not fantastic. You?
Mine weren't very good.
Yeah.
I mean, so many qualifications you got to meet. Got to be 6 foot tall. Still don't understand that one, but you got to be 6 foot tall. That's a huge qualification to meet. I mean,
and for the women, you know, you have to be a supermodel or,
you know.
Yeah.
Then you got all those pictures that you swipe through where somebody has a fish in their hand, or.
Oh God! Stop putting fish on it. Why? Why is there fish on profile picture? Why?
Or they have
What is
they shot a bird or something and they put it on.
Yeah, the hunting, the fishing, like. Okay.
And the endless conversation.
I don't understand that, but.
The unnecessary amount of messaging back and forth that you have to do on these sites, you don't have to do them. 7 days, people. But you don't have to do them.
Right.
But.
So I think what we're gonna lead in with is dating sites are great for meeting people that you would never meet, right? Because I particularly did not go out much. I went to work, took care of my kids, and went to a local hangout that's owned and operated by my family. I didn't go out places to meet men. So I think that's what led me to getting on dating apps, because I live in a small town. How do you meet anybody? You know, these days I think it's hard, especially when COVID was going on and nobody was going anywhere.
Exactly.
That being said, I'm sure, as we have experienced, and many of probably you that have, you know, if you've been on dating websites, it's kind of a dumpster fire.
Oh, it's a complete dumpster fire.
It's kind of a dumpster fire.
It is. It is like literally the dumpster fire that you see that's going on, and you just turn around and walk away from.
Yeah.
Like, it's a raging inferno of dumpsters.
And so we've talked, like, I mean, I used to spend maybe 2-3 days on a dating website, and then I would be just so disgusted and unenamored by any of it that I would just delete it and be gone for months at a time, because it's like I don't want to deal with all that. I don't want your D pics. I wasn't looking for hookups. I wasn't looking for a pen pal. Like, I was completely disenchanted with it. Did I have dates? Yeah. Were they great? I mean, do you want to speak on that at all? Like,
every one of the dates I went on was utter crap at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think it took me a little while, you know, being single and learning how to date again. I think when you've been in long-term relationships, you kind of have to relearn, like, today's dating society. It's a lot different than when I started out way back when. And I think I had to learn to, like, identify, you know, like, what are the red flags? What do I want in particular? you know, and how to communicate that and you know, get that point across. Because what I found, and Ramon's advice was always like, read the bios, right? Read the bios. I completely disagree. I think that, yeah, you can read a bio and you might get general information, but I think that a lot of people are not honest about what they're looking for. I do think that social media has created this thank you next mentality when it comes to dating.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Where you don't put the time in to get to really truly know somebody. You know, if they don't check off all your boxes, it's just like, man, on to the next thing. You know, you don't give anybody a chance to really truly get past some of that initial meetup stuff to get to know them.
I can't say that is necessarily true.
And I'm not going to say everybody's bios are full of shit, but sometimes their bios are full of shit.
Some people just don't put anything on their bios. And some people...
And you didn't. You had nothing on your bio.
I had no desire. I figure if you had any questions...
We'll get into that.
You can ask me. Yeah.
We're going to make a follow-up video to this.
It's probably easier to not put a bio on there. Just to let y'all know. It's probably easier to not put one on there. That way you can generate questions if somebody swipes whatever direction it is that they swipe. I think that's the helpful piece on that. For the no bio part.
But I think
if you're going to put a bio on there, some of them are very specific as to what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Very specific. Yeah. For what they're looking for. And that's why I always say just read the bio. It tells you everything. And if the ones that don't have anything on there, those are probably the ones that are looking for somebody to strike up a conversation or whatnot.
That's a good point.
And then they kind of go from there.
That's a good point.
Because then you can ask about people.
I think where I was going with that was just like sometimes they might say things like they're looking for a relationship and but are you? Not been my experience. You gotta learn to read between lines and find those red flags.
That's like red flag 101.
Yeah.
If that's what they say in their bio, I mean, why put anything in your bio?
Yeah. So I
guess I just don't understand.
I had to learn to navigate that, being when I first started using those dating websites and learning to read red flags and navigating through that. But I got much better at it as time went on, you know. People
should treat them like, you know, if you're going to the grocery store or the bar or whatnot and you meet somebody in there, you don't know anybody. I mean, you don't walk around with a bio over your freaking forehead and,
right.
You know, I do this and this and this and this.
That's true.
You know, you got this, like, you don't walk around like that. You genuinely just go up and talk or ask questions or whatever. Right. I mean, men, I would say, treat it the same way. Women, probably not, because you guys have to be very specific on what you want, or else you get every Tom, Dick, and
Harry.
And Harry. Yeah, you'll get all that comes your way, but women get it way different than men do, period.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a fact.
That's for sure. So I think when we sat and talked about making this video, kind of what our points were going to be, like one of the things, and again, we'll talk about this in a separate video, but one of the things was not creating pen pals on these dating websites. Like, if you truly have an intention of meeting somebody, make a plan and meet them. Because how else do you get to know anybody? Like, for real get to know anybody if you're not face to face, having conversations, reading the chemistry, reading the body language, tone of voice. I mean...
And the role of the pen pal, and when she's saying the pen pal, you know who you are. You are the people who... It's an everyday text thing for 30 days, whatever.
And then you ghost out.
And then, it fades out, it fizzles out.
Yeah.
There's never any meeting on there. You're really just basically there just to text somebody. Yeah. I mean, that is a waste of time.
So
we're
not going to talk about hookup people and hookup culture, and we're not going to talk about casual dating, because those of you that are doing that, that's fine, but that's fine.
Do what you're doing.
Do you, boo? We're not talking to you. We're talking to the people who are actually out to find a partner, to find a relationship. What you can do to avoid those pitfalls of meeting those people that are hookup culture or just casually dating.
Read bios.
You can read the bios, but I think a bigger part of that is make a plan to meet. And don't sit there and chat for a month and a half.
No. 7 days.
Make a plan to meet within
And don't
7
even
days.
chat. And don't even chat for 7 days.
And don't talk that much,
No,
actually.
no.
Leave something to be said
When you meet,
on the
because then you're
date.
repeating the same answers that you had
already over and
repeated.
over. Yeah.
And the same thing with the bio.
Right.
See, most people don't read a bio,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't read a bio, and then they're asking questions that was already in the bio.
Already
do
in
you
the
have
bio.
kids? It's already in the bio.
It was in my bio. What do you do for a living?
It's
It was in my bio.
I mean, it's all
yeah.
there. I mean, that's why I say read the bios. If they don't have anything, that means they're really genuinely wanting you to ask questions, so you don't have to repeat the same answer again.
Right. And we'll talk about how we met and kind of how our relationship evolved. But yeah, I think that's our huge piece of advice is don't wait to meet. Don't talk forever. Just get out there and meet, right? Do it safely.
There's that movie.
Meet in a public place. Let
Ring.
people know where you're going. Just
It's like The Ring.
the
You have
ring.
7 days.
7 days.
You're about to die.
Or your date's dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
your date's gonna die. It's gonna crawl out of your phone and it's just gonna be gone. 7 days. 7 days, and not 7 days of constant. Oh my Lord! Unless you're one of those constant texters and you like to have the conversation back and forth and back and forth, and that's you. You could do that, but you have to really think. Leave a little to be
talked about.
Yeah.
Or desired.
If not, you're sitting there in silence.
Right. Like, oh, well,
yeah.
Great, glad we met.
I mean, could you imagine if we sat for like 5 minutes in silence?
No. Well, I mean, we can sit in silence now, but we don't.
No.
Because we talk all the time. But, I mean...
But that's what would happen on a date.
Yeah.
There'd be that awkward...
And you don't want that.
There'd be that awkward...
weird silence.
Yeah, where you're just sitting there
you don't know what to say.
You're repeating the same things that you've already talked about.
Right.
7 days.
Make a plan.
Get a plan.
And
that's it. If the plan isn't to meet within 7 days, I am going to say it's time to turn around and walk away.
And I'm going to say, men, a piece of advice. Because this really impressed me about him, and we'll talk about it in our other video. But make the plans for that first date. Make the plans. Show some initiative. Pick a place, pick a time, pick a day that works for her, and make the plans. Don't put it on the woman to come up with all that stuff. Like, most of us women do enough in our daily lives. Like, we don't want to plan all the dates either. Like, make a plan and put it out there. And if it works for her, good job. Good job.
I just figured, hey,
Don't be lackadaisical.
you want to eat a specific thing and you're asking somebody to go on a date with you, you might as well eat whatever you want to eat. So it's kind of simple just to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the date.
And you can always
And
say,
we can go from
is
there.
that okay? Are there any food issues or whatever? But, like, this is what I'm planning. This is the date and time. Cool?
But see, and if there's any food issues and there's certain things that it comes up there. Hey, this is a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're a no-go.
Might not work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm eating meat. I'm eating meat.
Yeah.
Like there's no tomorrow. So if you were like a vegetarian, unless you were okay with me
Eating meat.
constantly,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
meat sweat eating meat.
Even so.
Yeah.
Even so, I mean, I don't want to digress from our point, though. The point is just like, sorry, we tend to digress a lot, so I got to reel him in. I got to reel him back in. The point was
that
unless
you had
you're-
said that you check with her and make sure that
I'm
whatever.
thinking
Well,
more
there's the point.
food
at that
allergies.
point
You don't
where,
want to take somebody with a
A, you
seafood
can
allergy
check
to a
out
seafood
or
restaurant.
whatever it is.
That was my point. But I think if you want to actually up the stakes of actually finding a relationship, you need to get out there and actually go on dates with these people. So if
within 7 days.
Within 7 days. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Don't be pen pals. If you're genuinely interested in having a relationship, you need to get out there and meet people. And you might have 30 misses where, you know what, it's just not your person. But I feel like it's really important to put yourself out there.
Oh, it is.
I mean, in a safe manner. Don't be crazy. But, get out there and go on some dates.
Everybody's gonna do
Meet
it,
the
man.
people that you're talking to on these apps or whatever. Because you never know which one you might end up actually clicking with. Text messaging or chatting, it's only ever going to give you so much of who that person truly is. And so just make date plans. Go on dates. Meet people. It's going to give you the best chance to get to know that person and whether or not they're
worthy.
Well, not worth. Well,
yeah.
I mean, yes, but
worthy.
I mean, whether they're your person, right?
Yeah, which would essentially be worthy, whether they're worthy of.
Yeah, and know what you're looking for.
Span and. Yeah, that's the other
and that's
thing.
the other thing.
Know what you're looking for.
Know what you're looking for.
When you're looking at a profile pic, just because they look good in their profile pic does not mean that they look good in real life or that they are good, period, for you.
Right.
So.
And I think that's, another whole point. And we try to help a certain couple of friends that have some very high standards. Now, should you have standards? Yeah,
you should. Your standards should be fairly high.
All of our standards standards are going to be different.
But you should always expect the best.
For you.
But yeah, for you.
For you.
You should expect the best.
Yeah.
For you.
For you.
So I wouldn't say that their standards are high. Their standards are unrealistic.
Yeah. And what I'm going to say to that is, you should have a set of standards that are a no.
That are realistic.
Yeah, but they're if you don't meet these things, that's a no-go for me. You shouldn't have a list like this of no-goes, because if that's the case, then I don't believe you're truly interested in dating or being in a relationship. Because let's face it, we're all people. Nobody is perfect. I don't give a shit who you are. We all have flaws. Physical, mental, emotional. We all have flaws.
Yes. So
if your checklist is so big that nobody will ever meet those standards, then you're not truly interested in having a relationship with somebody.
I just think
because
you have to have more realistic outcomes of what you're looking for. I mean,
when you're ready to get into a relationship, you're willing to accept the good with the bad, right? You're willing to go, I'm an imperfect person. I don't expect you to be a perfect person. Can I accept your flaws along with your good? And that's gonna work for me. I think that's where you need to be at. Because there's always gonna be things about the person that you date or the person you're in a relationship with that might not be the best or perfect attributes.
It depends on if it's a deal breaker or not.
And that's it.
I mean,
is it a deal breaker?
If your deal breaker is that you have to be 6 foot tall, well then you excluded anybody that's 5'11".
Yep. And if your deal breaker is you have to be 125 pounds,
you've excluded anybody that's 127.
Yep.
So
yep.
You got to be kind of. I mean, what are your deal breakers?
What are your deal breakers?
If your deal breakers are certainly viable things that make sense, especially again, some people that we know aren't looking at reality and what they are and who they are, and
I'm gonna try to be a little nicer about this.
I'm not going to be.
We've talked about this once before, but I think that a lot of everybody needs to take a close look in the mirror and say,
gee, I think that was way worse than how I just said it.
Do I live up to those standards? If somebody were to reverse that and put it on me.
That was way worse than I said.
Well, I'm sorry. I feel like it needs to be said.
Yeah,
if somebody
you said you were going to say it nicer than me. That was not nicer than me.
No, nicer than I said it before.
Oh.
When we talked about it before. I know that, which is why I'm saying it now. Just take a long, deep look in the mirror and ask yourself, if somebody had a criteria checklist as big as yours, do you meet it?
I mean,
because if not, maybe you need to reevaluate your priorities.
I mean, mine is pretty simple. I don't want you to be bald.
I think for me, and you can think about your answer here in a minute, but for me it was like, you need to have a stable life, meaning you need to have a job, be stable in that job.
No, we were talking about no-goes.
You need to have...
What is your
no-go?
You can't have.
My can't have
what is your what I'm not going to put up with?
I'm not going to put up with somebody that doesn't work. I'm not going to put up with somebody that's drug-addled. I'm not going to put up with somebody that their life is in constant chaos, because I'm all about, I want my peace. Like, if you're not bringing me peace, goodbye.
just don't want you to be bald.
I don't have physical attributes. I didn't have a lot. Like, I mean, I like nice eyes. I like a nice smile or nice lips. Beyond that, I don't have you must be 6 foot tall with, no.
So if Grimace came walking up to you and said, "Hi, Shannon," you would be like,
I would never be rude to that person.
I'm not saying anything rude. But what if he said, you want to go out on a date? I'm talking like Grimace the.
I know what you're talking about, but
you would say, what? Thank you, no thank you, to a date, if that's what you ran across. If they
it depends on the connection.
And
it depends on the connection and the conversation that we were having at that moment. You're talking about walking up in person.
Well, even if you swiped or they swiped on you and you noticed that they swiped on you or whatever.
If I knew that there was going to be absolutely if I knew there was going to be absolutely no attraction at all, then obviously move on.
Then you have a criteria of what you're going to be attracted to. I mean, you're not.
But I don't have a criteria of you must be 6 foot tall and work out, 7 days a week, and I don't have that kind of criteria. I don't. That's just not who I am. And you in particular know this because he knows who my kids' dad is, and I don't have a specific criteria when it comes to physicality. And he's laughing because he knows. Anyway, I'm not going to dive into that. But for me, it's more about, at this point in my life, are you stable? Are you a nice person? Do we have chemistry beyond physicality where I can actually have a conversation with you, an intelligent conversation? And you're emotionally intelligent as well, which means I'm not talking to somebody thick as a rock. Like, those have become more important to me at this age. That's what I'll say.
And it's still all in the bios. I mean, it really is. It really is.
You can't.
I mean, because somebody will tell you, they're 5'10" or 5'6" or whatever, and they're like 5'10" or 5'6", and they're like being honest about it. So, I mean, I think most of these sites ask you certain questions. I mean, there's probably people who...
You can't divulge somebody's entire personality from reading a bio.
Yeah,
so.
I know, but, you at least know if they're 6 feet or 5'10".
And there's the catfish thing. There's the catfish thing.
At least they would tell you, hey, I'm 5'10". I don't know why many people would lie about their height. I don't get it.
I don't know. Women sound in. Because I personally don't understand the 6 foot tall thing. That was never a part of my criteria. What is the 6 foot thing? Somebody explain it to me because I don't understand.
We could probably Google it and somebody has an answer as to why somebody puts that as a criteria in their bio. Because
I'm just gonna say, as a nurse, just because they're a tall man don't mean they're tall everywhere. If that's what you're thinking, ladies.
I surely don't.
In fact, I would almost venture to say God has a sense of humor about that. You might want to check out your less than 6 foot men, if that's what you're concerned about, and you know what I'm trying to say right now. Just saying, as a nurse, God has a sense of humor. Ladies, you might be missing out.
I mean, I'm not 4 foot tall or nothing, but I'm 5'10" on a good day.
Yeah. And I'm 5'6", and I know it doesn't look like it when we sit next to each other like this.
She's got the tall torso.
I have a tall torso, and he's the inverse, long legs.
And I'm comfortable in slouching.
And he's a sloucher.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Those add everything to it,
Yeah. But, yeah, so again, I think, don't wait to meet up. If they're within driving distance of you and you can make a date, make a date.
7 days.
Make a date.
7 days.
I mean, what do you have to lose?
Nothing.
Nothing. You might go have dinner and drinks or drinks.
And if you're going to have those long, drawn-out conversations over text and you'd start making plans and then they can't make the plan or whatnot, the first time is probably a real one. The second and third, fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh and eighth and ninth and 10th and 12th and 15th, and next thing you know, you've done wasted an entire year talking to somebody that you're never really going to ever meet because every time there's an excuse of something.
Right.
Jeez, stop.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
And again, we're only speaking to people that are actually looking for relationships.
Yes.
We're not talking about hookups or dating casually.
And the biggest thing.
If you like that, kudos.
The biggest piece of advice, read the bios.
Read the bios.
If it's blank,
learn the red flags.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
If it's blank, ask a question.
Learn the red flags. You got to learn to navigate that, ladies. I'm going to say ladies especially. Learn to navigate that. I'm also going to say, ladies, stop over-filtering the shit out of your pictures.
Oh, yeah, fix that.
Please
Jesus
stop.
Lord.
Please stop.
Ugh.
Listen.
I saw one day. just the over-filtering, where it was so messed up that this didn't even look like a real person. It looked like a cartoon. Stop.
And here's the thing, women. I want you to have more confidence, right? Okay, because listen, I'm not everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, but still,
I'm definitely not.
Stop.
But you know what? I'm somebody's cup of tea.
When you turn your face into a cartoon character on the thing,
don't do that.
Just stop that.
Don't do that.
That's the one thing that ain't.
You just need to learn to. You need to learn to accept, like, you're not everybody's cup of tea. That's number one. But you're gonna be somebody's cup of tea.
But
there's a lid. There's a lid for every pot. I'm just gonna say it like that.
And also, women, stop the group photos.
Men too, though.
Group photos,
men too. I've seen that with men.
Yeah, but
I've seen that with men.
Every photo
and you're like,
scroll through,
who are
which
you?
one of you? Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And
you're never going to meet anybody.
Men, stop with the D pics, first of all. Yeah. We laugh or get disgusted, first of all. Do better. That's, no.
There's no... an a-hole pic.
That's not doing better. That's not doing better. Stop sending...
Here's my brown star.
Any of that. Honey.
Like an asterisk.
Honey, stop. Oh my God, I apologize, y'all.
Don't apologize.
I apologize for his mouth.
I have not said not one curse word
Stop
whole time.
Men, stop putting dead animals on your profile pics.
Yeah.
For real.
I get that you're probably happy that
if you want us to know that you're a hunter and fisherman, you can write that in your bio.
Yeah.
You can write, because you might meet an outdoorsy chick that likes that. Just put. We don't need to. I don't need pictures. I don't need.
Or at least don't have it as your number one profile pic.
I mean, just
women. Same thing for you.
Have a nice.
I've got to be honest. I've seen so many of them where they're holding like a turkey or a pheasant or something that they just shot. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh.
I guess I don't see the women's side of it, so I don't know.
And you see them, or they have the fish, or they're holding the fish in their hand, and
people still do
it's okay. I mean, but you don't need to put that.
You can just write it in your bio.
Yeah, you can even use a fish emoji if you don't want to write fish, turkey, and whatever.
It's fine. Just put up some nice.
Yeah, you just use emojis. Some people
put up some nice current pictures of yourself that aren't
don't
filtered to the stars.
Don't dust out that old picture from 2019 or whatever, and
that's
try to pass that off.
I'm thinking, don't put up something from 2000. Let's not go 20 years back.
Even like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Don't post that picture. That's not you. That's not you. You've changed in 4 years.
That's true.
I mean.
Yeah. So just take some nice current pictures, ladies. Like, you'll be somebody's cup of tea. You might have to wait a while for that Prince Charming to come around, but you know what? We all did.
And in between.
Go on some
saying
dates.
that you can't go on dates with other people. Hey, go on dates. I'd encourage it. Go on as many dates as possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, because again, you never know who you might meet and who you might not meet. But if you're getting the action, go on as many dates as possible.
And I'm going to say this. Like, maybe take a leap of faith on somebody that was a little outside of your norm.
I suppose.
Here's what I'm going to say. Try something new. Try to meet different people. Don't always go after your same niche over and over again, because if it hasn't been working for you, it hasn't been working for you for a reason. Try something different. If you're always going after the bad boys with tattoos and motorcycles and it doesn't work out for you, maybe give the computer geeks a little chance. You never know who you're going to click with.
Computer geeks?
I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with an example of two polar opposites. Just don't pigeonhole yourself into, I'm only going to date one specific type of person, because you are eliminating so many people that you don't know who you're going to connect with.
You kind of pigeonhole yourself to a certain extent, because you know what you're looking for. You do know what you're looking for,
That's-
and you always know what it is that you are looking for. Innately, you're not going to step so far outside of your norm to completely step outside of your norm. You know
But I
what I mean?
think that you can adjust your.
You can make adjustments. You can flip the sliding scale from 125 to 130 or whatever, or 6 foot to 5'11 and a half.
I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe don't always pigeonhole yourself. Try something a little different.
And the worst part is you're pigeonholing yourself, and you might be the pigeon that's being holed. Because beauty's in the eye of the beholder, buddies.
That's right. That's right.
Hate to say it, but woo! Some of y'all have high expectations. And,
Very high.
yeah,
Very high.
Yeah, and and there's nothing wrong with high expectations, as long as they're real.
Exactly. I mean, you need to keep it in a reality frame.
Yes.
I mean, that's all I can say about it. Keep it in a reality frame.
And on that note, we'll be back.
Bye, y'all.